Welcome to the second part of the Unit 8, that is about characteristics of living organisms. In my last video, I explained about the common characteristics of living organisms. Here, these are the common living characteristics of organisms. First one is cellular organization, nutrition, respiration, irritability or coordination, excretion, movement, reproduction, growth and development. So from these living characteristics, I have explained first three characteristics, that is cellular organization, nutrition and respiration in my previous video, and today I am going to explain another three main common characteristics of living organisms. They are irritability or coordination, excretion and movement. The first living characteristic is irritability and coordination. Before going to learn about irritability and coordination, you should know the two terms stimuli and response. First, let's see what is stimulus. Stimulus is a change in the internal or external environment, and that change should be strong enough to bring a response. So if you consider human, we have five main sense organs, and these sense organs receive the changes occur in our environment. For example, our ear receives the changes of sound in the environment, and if you consider our skin, it can detect the touch, pressure and temperature changes in the environment. And if you consider our eye, it detects the light, and if you consider the nose, it detects the different smells from the environment, and in the same way our tongue receives the different tastes. So these sensory organs are responsible for receiving the changes that occur in the external environment. So the stimulus means the change that occurs in the environment that stimulate these sensory organs. Now let's see what is response then. Response means the reaction shown by the organism according to the received stimuli. So if an organism receives some stimuli, it shows a response according to that stimuli. So the reaction shown by this organism according to the stimuli is called as the response. And now let's see what is irritability. Irritability means the ability to respond to stimuli received from the internal or external environment. So as the stimulus is received, the organism show different responses. So this ability is called as irritability. And coordination means the communication between different organs during responding to a stimulus. So the stimulus are received from the sensory organs, and the response or the reaction may be shown by some other organs. So communication between the sensory organ and the organ that react to that stimulus is called as the coordination. Now let's study this picture as an example for irritability and coordination. Now if you consider this image, it has an eye and a glass of water. So eye is the sensory organ which receives the stimulus of light. So eye sees that there's a glass of water. So this message is sent to our brain through the nervous system, and our brain says that there's a glass of water and take it. So that message is again sent to your hand. Hand is the effector organ, or the organ which shows the response to the received stimuli. So our hand take that glass of water to the hand. So this is the mechanism of irritability and coordination. So stimulus is received by some other organ, and the reaction is performed by some other organ. So the communication between these two organs is maintained by our nervous system. So this is called as coordination, and this showing response according to that stimuli is called as the irritability. Now if you consider plants, they also show the irritability and coordination. Here we have a mimosa plant, and when we touch that plant, the leaves fold up. So folding up the leaves according to the touch is the irritability, and touch is the stimulus that received by the plant, and a response shown by the plant is the folding up the leaves. So this irritability and coordination is a living feature that is shown by both plant and animals, and this is also shown by microorganisms. Now let's move to the next living characteristic, that is excretion. So excretion is the process of removing waste products from the body. So these waste products are produced during various metabolic processes taken place in our body. For example, cellular respiration, excretion and digestion. So if you consider human body as an example, we have four main excretory organs as skin, lungs, liver and kidney. If we consider our skin, it removes sweat as the waste product. If we consider the components of sweat, it mainly contains water and salt. So it removes unwanted water and salt from our body. And when considering lungs, it removes carbon dioxide and water vapor as waste products. So when considering the liver, it removes bile products as waste products, and it mainly contains ammonium waste. And when considering kidney, it removes urine as the waste product, and in urine it contains urea, water and salt. So these are the main excretory organs in human and the excretory products. In the same way, other animals also have different excretory organs to remove waste from their body. So when we consider plants, they also show different types of excretions. So when considering respiration of plants, it also removes carbon dioxide as the waste product as animals do. And when considering the photosynthesis of plants, it removes oxygen as a byproduct or the waste product. Now let's see what is the next living characteristic, that is movement. So movement is a common living characteristic for all living organisms. So during this movement, whole organism or the part of organism can be moved. So moving the whole organism from one place to another is called as locomotion. And when considering unicellular organisms or microorganisms, they use cilia, flagella or pseudopodia for showing movement. So in this diagram it shows cilia and pseudopodia and flagellum of unicellular organisms which are used for movements. When considering the multicellular organisms, they show different form of movements, and for showing movements they use their special locomotory organs and muscles. So here in the diagram it shows different forms of locomotion or different modes of locomotion shown by animals. So flying, walking and running, swimming and creeping movements are some examples of a different locomotory movement shown by animals. So when considering flying, animals use wings and feathers as organs for locomotion, and when considering walking and running, usually animals use their legs as the locomotory organ, and when considering swimming, animals use fins as the locomotory organ, and when considering creeping movements, animals use their legs and body for showing creeping movements. Now if you consider the plants, they cannot show locomotory movements. Instead they show different types of movements to fulfill its needs. Most of these movements are related to its growth, and also some movements are not related to the growth of the plant. So if you consider the mimosa plant, its leaves fold up during touching and even during night, and the tendrils of the climbing plants coil up around the supporter while growing up. And also growing plants towards the light is a main form of movement shown by plants. And predatory plants also show different types of movements to trap its prey. And when considering the cell of organism, cell also show different forms of movements. Like movements means the organelles of the cell move within the cell. So for example, cytoplasmic streaming can be taken here. In this diagram you can see that the chlorophylls are moving. So when the light is fallen on the leaves, the chlorophylls of these plants are moving towards the light. So this can be observed in the school laboratory also using a hydrilla plant. So we will observe it when the school gets started. So in this video we discuss about another three main living characteristics of organisms. They are coordination, excretion and movement. So we will meet with another video to discuss the next living characteristics. Goodbye you all.